It is really hard to believe that Walker had nothing to do with this secret email network.
We should mention that there is a John Doe investigation going on.
When you talk about the parallel to Chris Christie, it's very apt.
Politics ain't beanbag. Okay, and everybody in the country who engages in politics knows that.
Scott Walker has a unique position here among all of the governors who are not Chris Christie.
You have two men who are very political and who micromanage their campaigns.
Guys, we don't work that way.
Your name's bannered about quite a bit that maybe you may get into the 2016 presidential race.
I'm surely flattered when people bring things like that up.
Good to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. Well, for years on this program here on The Ed Show, I've been telling you that Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker is bad news. Bad news for Walker, bad news for workers. Walker is now facing serious allegations of illegal campaign activities. Here's what Walker woke up to this morning in the Badger State. The front page of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel read, "Records link Walker to secret email system." A headline on the Wisconsin State Journal read, "Walker linked to illicit emails." Governor Walker, this deserves a response to the people of your state. You cannot be silent on this. Thousands of pages of documents were released by an appeals court in Madison, Wisconsin on Wednesday. They reveal Walker was at the center of a campaign operation during his time as Milwaukee County executive. Walker was allegedly using county time and resources to run his gubernatorial campaign through a secret email system. This is a felony in the state of Wisconsin. The illegal campaign operation has already led to 15 felony convictions and 3 misdemeanors for 6 of Walker's associates. How could he not know? Walker has denied any involvement whatsoever in the illegal activities. In fact, he's the conservative hero. But Wednesday's document dump tells a different story, and it is raising big questions. Ruth Conniff of the Progressive magazine points out that Walker was involved in the smallest of details of his campaign. One example shows a county staff emailing campaign advisors to how to respond to talk about taxes. Walker personally responded and replied in this email saying, "This is good." Another email shows Walker telling staffers how to deal with questions about his chief of staff, Tom Nordelli's work history. Walker wrote, "Even if it comes up, Tom's answer should be short and pithy. Sup Westian should stop spending his time dreaming up political attacks with the Service Employees International Union and start working on the county budget." That's Walker in this email system. Now, other emails show a campaign staffer supervising county staff statements denying they are coordinating with the campaign. Part of the denial comes from a county staff which reads, "No one in our office had any knowledge that Darlene was posting political comments." Walker's campaign strategist responded, "Just talked with Tom, send it." Gosh, that sounds so New Jersey, doesn't it? Now, these are just a few examples of what was found in the document dump. This could be why Walker set up a legal defense fund back in 2012. We have been on this story from the start. Big trouble for Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin. 2 staffers who worked for Walker when he was Milwaukee County executive have been charged with illegally doing campaign work while being paid by the county. It's all part of an ongoing John Doe investigation involving Walker's staffers. We have a major development in Wisconsin with Governor Scott Walker and the secret investigation surrounding his time as Milwaukee County executive. Today, Walker announced that he will finally meet with the district attorney leading the investigation. The buzzards are, I guess you could say, are starting to circle around the rookie governor on this John Doe investigation in a big way. On Friday, Walker became the first Wisconsin governor ever to set up a legal defense fund. Fast forward to today, they're talking about this guy possibly being the president of the United States. This is a guy who wants to lead the free world. He ought to check his own backyard first. Democrats have suspected this illegal activity from the start. These new documents, I believe, underscore just how underhanded and deceptive Scott Walker is. There is no way, you will never convince me, that 6 of his staffers could receive felony convictions. He wouldn't have any knowledge of their crimes or activities at all. I don't buy it. I think the word impeachment in Wisconsin needs to be on the table. But there's a political dynamic to this. Bottom line is, the Democrats don't have enough legislative power to bring forth any of that kind of conversation. But what the Democrats can do is ask Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm, how much evidence do you need to bring charges against the sitting governor of the state of Wisconsin, Scott Walker? How much more evidence needs to be put out in front of the people? And if there's not going to be charges, and if there's not going to be any talk of impeachment, where are the activists? I remember the activists back in early 2011 in Wisconsin. If I walked through the crowd once, I walked through 10 times and heard people say, Eddie, we don't trust him. There's something about this guy we don't trust. He doesn't tell the truth. He's attacking workers unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of this state. So the question is, Scott Walker, do you feel an obligation tonight, now that this document dump has been released? Do you feel anything of an inclination that maybe it's time for you to come out and talk directly to the people of Wisconsin and raise your right hand and say, on my integrity to you as your governor, I knew nothing about this secret email system and you can trust me? I'll stay tuned for that one. In the meantime, where's the march? The folks who were out in the streets and at the Capitol in Madison, Wisconsin back in early 2011, this is what you were looking for. This is the smoking gun. It's clearly there is a connection between Scott Walker and the activities of his staff, some who have already been convicted. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think. Tonight's question, do you think Scott Walker is guilty? Text A for yes, text B for no to 67622. You can always go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We'll bring you the results later on in the show. For more, I want to turn to the reporter on this story, Ruth Conniff of the Progressive Magazine. And when this document dump came out yesterday, we at the Ed Show asked Ruth and her staff to go through these 27,000 emails and don't miss anything. Make sure that the information is tight to the public before anything is reported. Ruth, good to have you with us tonight. The headlines across Wisconsin today are very pointed and very damaging. From your reporting, where's the smoking gun in this?
Well, the big smoking gun is that Walker is clearly at the center of this network. And we have a document where we've kind of put together all of his denials of knowledge of this secret email network. You know, we knew after this John Doe investigation and after the indictments of his staff that there definitely were these laptops, that people had private emails, and that they were doing campaign work on the taxpayers' time, which is illegal in Wisconsin. But Walker has said repeatedly he had nothing to do with it. Now, if you look at all these emails and the totality of them, it's a very clear picture. Walker was a micromanager. He mixed together campaign staff and the county staff who worked under him, and they talked constantly throughout the day about campaign matters and about public matters, public policy matters, but strictly in political terms. So he basically moved his campaign, took over the Milwaukee County Executive's office with this campaign. He had wanted to run for governor starting in 2002, and he ran this incredibly political operation secretly to avoid open records laws.
Now, it's been stated time and time again that Scott Walker was never the subject or the center or the focal point of this John Doe investigation. But this changes things now. There is a clear connection. You can see it right in the emails. Is there any way Walker can still deny knowledge of this? First question. And the second question, what has been his reaction since these documents were released?
He has said nothing today, and he's left the state. He said through a spokesman that he had no further comment on the matter. Right as before the documents were released yesterday, he said this is all old news and you're not going to see anything new, and it's a partisan witch hunt, which has been, you know, the talking points from him and his allies from the beginning. Even though, you know, there's been a Republican judge in charge of this first John Doe, there's a new John Doe investigation, another secret investigation which is currently underway, and where Walker may indeed be a target. And that is also led by a Republican prosecutor. So, you know, there's the partisan witch hunt narrative just completely falls apart. But he's really had very little to say about it. And in fact, what's coming out is very, very damaging for him.
Should there be a demand on the part of the residents of Wisconsin to have this governor come out, or doesn't it seem strange that he's not compelled in a short period of time after this document dump to come out and to assure all the residents that he can be trusted? That trust is the center of this and he had nothing to do with this? Instead, he says he has no comment on it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It would seem to me that this would be enough for activists to revolve around. What do you think?
Well, he can't say that, Ed, I think, because if you look at these emails, you know, I talked to a former attorney general of the state who put it this way. It's like a pointillist painting. Maybe at any one point, you're not sure legally if you can demonstrate that Walker's hands are dirty, but if you step back and you see the level of micromanagement, you see him tapping on his BlackBerry, writing talking points for his own staff, it's clear that he was very deeply involved in this campaign operation, which we know took place on this illegal, private, secret email network in his office. If you look at the map, which is Exhibit A in the criminal complaint against Kelly Reinfleisch, whose emails came out today, his former staffer, it is amazing how close together everybody sat. So when Walker says in an email, no more laptops, you know, we have to put this stuff away, it's pretty clear that he saw it, he walked past it every day, and also that he was managing this stuff. So I don't think he can come out and reassure people, Ed, which is why he's not doing it. And also, he's the first governor in the history of the state to set up his own criminal defense fund, which he just put another $86,000 of his recently raised campaign money into. And he sat for an hour with prosecutors as governor and had a long conversation. Be interesting if he told us the details of that talk.
All right, Ruth Conniff of the Progressive Magazine, great journalism, and we, of course, will keep on this story and come back to you again and again.